They called it family money, like it was some sacred pot we all dipped into without a second thought. But by sunrise that morning, my bank app stared back at me with a cruel little balance, $17.41. Three pulls, 1,350, then 980, and finally 1,420. Gone, just like that. Poof. I sat there in my kitchen, coffee going cold, watching the numbers blink like a bad joke. Out on the street, neighbors froze mid-step when Mom's scream ripped through the air over that email. I didn't argue, didn't yell or throw plates. I just documented. Screenshots, timestamps, every digital crumb. Saved it all in a folder labeled Truth. You ever feel that? The quiet rage bubbling up, but you swallow it because screaming feels like losing twice? Yeah, me too. Then, softer, like a whisper in the dark. Tears don't fix what trust breaks. They just make the mess wetter. Hey, I'm Ava Mercer, 25, born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. The kind of place where the wind off Lake Erie bites right through your coat, and everyone knows your business before lunch. I audit remans for a living. You know, digging through spreadsheets, spotting the lies companies tell themselves about their profits. It's steady work, pays the rent on my one-bedroom walk-up. That morning, though, scrolling through my alerts with bleary eyes, I realized I'd been audited by my own damn family. The people who were supposed to have my back had just run the numbers on me. It started small, weeks earlier. We were at that little Italian spot downtown, the one with the checkered tablecloths and garlic bread that sticks to your ribs. Lunch with Mom, our ritual, you know? Catching up on her bridge club drama, me venting about a client who thought creative accounting was a compliment. She reached across the table, all smiles and that floral perfume she swears by, and slipped my debit card right into her purse. "Just need to grab a few things for the house, sweetie," she said, eyes twinkling like it was no big deal. Believing her? That was easier, way easier than questioning the woman who'd bandaged my scraped knees and cheered at every spelling bee. Family, right? You let it slide. But doubt crept in slow, like that winter fog rolling off Lake Erie. Thick, chilling, blurring everything until you can't tell sidewalk from water. I'd check my app at night, see the balance dip a little here, a little there. Gas for her car, groceries she forgot to mention. I told myself it was fine, temporary, but that fog, it settled heavy in my chest, making every text from her feel like a question mark. God, you remember those simple days? I do. Flashback with me for a sec. Me, maybe 8 years old, cross-legged on the linoleum kitchen floor. Mom's got this old coffee can full of loose change, the kind you shake and it sounds like buried treasure. We're counting quarters and dimes, her fingers brushing mine as she stacks them into pyramids. "Look at that, Ava girl," she laughs, voice warm as fresh laundry. "One day, all this'll be yours. Family builds it together." I giggled so hard I knocked the pile over, coins scattering like confetti. We chased them under the fridge, breathless and happy. Pure, unfiltered trust. Back then, money wasn't numbers on a screen. It was magic we made side by side. That memory hit me hard that morning, twisting like a knife. How did we get here? From coin pyramids to stolen swipes. Then the doorbell cam pinged. I pulled up the feed on my phone, heart already thudding. There's Mom on the porch, bundled in her wool coat, fumbling with her phone. The email notification pops up. Formal demand, unauthorized transfers. Her face crumples, eyes wide, hand flying to her mouth. The camera catches it all in crisp HD freeze frame, like some twisted home movie. Beat, beat, heartbeat SFX thumping in my ears, syncing with the pulse in my throat. Fade to black on her shock. I slumped back against the fridge, the cold metal grounding me. Part of me wanted to hit delete, pretend it never happened. But another part, the auditor in me, the kid who learned to count on her, knew silence wasn't an option. That's when the next email slid in, from my buddy Kai. Ava, read this, then call me. And just like that, the fog started to lift. Or maybe it was about to get a whole lot stormier. I curled up on my couch that afternoon, knees tucked under me like a kid hiding from a storm. The laptop balanced on a pillow, screen casting this harsh blue glow across my face. I'd pulled up my bank's security log on a whim, just to double check, because doubt's a sneaky bastard. It whispers, what if, until you're scrolling like a detective in your own life. And there it was, popping up in stark black letters. Recent devices, one active in your parents' zip. Their address, stamped right there, time-stamped 2:17 a.m. last Tuesday. My fingers shook so bad I nearly dropped the thing. Hell, the whole foundation of everything I knew shook, cracked like cheap drywall under a sledgehammer. How long? How deep? Was this the first time or just the one I caught? You ever stare at proof like that and feel your world tilt? Like 1 second you're solid, the next you're free-falling? I did. Breath caught in my throat, that metallic taste of panic flooding my mouth. The living room felt too small, walls closing in with the hum of the fridge and distant traffic on Euclid Avenue. I slammed the lid shut, but the image burned behind my eyelids. Family. The word tasted sour now. That's when my phone buzzed. Kai Turner, my ride or die from law school, the one who traded corporate suits for pro bono fire. We'd grabbed beers last week, me venting about the card slip-up, him nodding like he knew the punchline before I did. His email subject, 48-hour demand letter, attached, call if you need backup. I clicked open, heart hammering. It was airtight. Timelines, transaction IDs, a polite but ironclad request for repayment plus fees. Ava, he'd written at the bottom, this isn't war, it's boundaries. You deserve that. Outside my window, porch lights flickered on early, dusk creeping in like an uninvited guest. I could hear neighbors murmuring on the sidewalk, heads bent close, probably piecing together Mom's earlier meltdown from the street. Poor Linda, one said. What's gotten into Ava? Gossip travels faster than light in Cleveland. God, it stung. Flashback quick. Me, 10 maybe, in our old kitchen with the yellowed cabinets. Oven timer dings, and Mom's pulling out a tray of chocolate chip cookies, steam rising like a hug. Golden edges, gooey centers. She slides one onto a plate, blows on it, hands it over with that grin. For my favorite taste tester, she says, voice all honey and home. I bite in, crumbs everywhere, and we laugh about how Dad always burns his batch. Warmth everywhere, the smell of vanilla, the sizzle of melting chips, pure, uncomplicated love. Cut to now, crossfade to the cold glow of my screen, cursor blinking like an accusation. That warmth? It curdled into this digital chill, leaving me shivering under a throw blanket. I hit send before I could second guess, watch the email whoosh off into the ether. Part of me hoped it'd fix things, wake them up, spark a real talk over coffee. But deep down, I knew better, the kind of knowing that sits heavy in your gut. Then my phone lit up again, blocked number. I hesitated, thumb hovering. Answer or ghost? It rang twice more before I swiped. A voice, low and distorted, like it was run through gravel. Withdraw the demand, Ava, or your job finds out about the loans you overlooked. Click. Dead air. My blood turned to ice. Who? How? And just like that, the real storm broke wide open, pulling me under before I could even gasp for air. Next morning slammed into me like a bad hangover. Phone buzzed at 8:15. Karen, my manager, all business in her clipped voice. Ava, conference room, now. No chit-chat. I was mid-sip of stale coffee, still in PJs, that blocked call from last night looping like a nightmare. Heart jackhammering, I yanked on jeans, splashed water on my face, and peeled out for the office down Superior Avenue. Factories blurred by, rusty reminders that Cleveland chews you up, but you keep swinging. palms sweaty on the wheel. What if they weren't bluffing? That elevator ride up? Pure dread. Gut twisting like I'd swallowed glass. You ever get that drop, stepping into traffic without looking? Hit the bullseye. Clocked in, receptionist dodged my eyes, straight to the glass box of a conference room. Karen's perched there, arms folded, printout fanned out like a guilty verdict. Anonymous tip came in, she says, tone iced over like Lake Erie in January. Kickbacks on the Thompson file, inflating bills, routing cash to family. Slides it my way, neat bullets, dates syncing creepy perfect with mom's swipes. Chest clamped tight, breaths short and sharp, fluorescence buzzing like angry bees. Vision flashed, desk gutted, my nameplate binned, 3 years of Excel marathons and coffee-fueled wins evaporating. Poof, into the void. Terrified? Damn right. Job loss would have wrecked me. Rent due, student loans lurking like sharks. That safety net I bootstrapped from community college nights? Shredded. But folding into silence? Nah, that'd carve out my soul. The regret kind that haunts, leaves you staring at ceilings at 3 a.m., muttering, should have said something. I planted palms on the table's chill oak, locked eyes. Karen, total BS, pull my logs, spotless. She dipped her chin, slow, but that gaze screamed internal affairs on speed dial. Investigation starts today, comp time. Out, like I was already the villain. Drove home in a blur, engine growling over my brain's roar. Phone out, zipped a folder fast, bank screenshots glaring red, starred call log from the ghost number, plus that ring clip. Dad at my doorpost post-demand, hulking shadow under the porch bold. Soft knocks, no invite. Ava, come on kid, be smart. Family holds tight. Voice rough through the door, worn from camels and unspoken stuff. I ghosted him, watched him hang, then fade into the street lamp haze. Zip file whooshed to Kai. Escalation mode. Help. Oof, forwarding that clip? Like handing over a family heirloom to the pawn shop. Dad was the steady one, not the storm. Quick flash, me at 10, belly down on the garage concrete, chin propped, eyes glued as he tamed a rickety dining chair. Sawdust hangs thick, pine sweet in the air, flecking his flannel like snow. Hammer goes tap-tap, rhythmic as rain on tin. He looks up, snags my stare, flashes that crooked grin. Watch close, Ava Bug. Broke ain't broke forever, just needs a good turn. Pride beams between us, twin sparks. I pass the screwdriver, stand a little taller. He patched it all back then. Furniture, flat tires, mom's quiet storms. Now, he was the splinter I couldn't pull. Home at last, I sagged against the door, apartment air thick with takeout ghosts. Then, knock, knock, knock. Sharp, insistent, vibrating the peephole. Froze solid, pulse slamming my ribs. Spy hole check, empty hall. But that shadow slid long under the door, etched like it owned the cracks. Familiar curve, like a memory with teeth. Held my breath and braced for whatever shadow play came next. My phone pinged mid-morning, 2 days after the shadow at the door. Text from Mom. Let's talk. No lawyers, just us. 2 p.m., Beanery. The Beanery, our spot since high school, tucked on a side street off Detroit Avenue, with its mismatched mugs and espresso that could wake the dead. Part of me wanted to ghost it, delete the thread, crank the AC and pretend. But the auditor in me? She itched for answers. Okay, I typed back. See you there. Pulled up at 1:55, rain spitting on the windshield like the sky was in on the joke. The place smelled like wet pavement and fresh grounds, steam fogging the windows. Mom was already at our corner booth, nursing a latte, her hair pinned back but strands escaping like she couldn't hold it together. She spotted me, smile flickering, warm at first, then wobbling like a candle in a draft. Ava, honey. Hugged me quick, all Chanel No. 5 in tension, before we slid into the cracked vinyl seats. Barista called orders in the background, clatter spoons on saucers. Felt like old times, almost. Until it didn't. "Sweetheart," she started, stirring her cup too fast, foam sloshing over. "Family is everything. Don't let outsiders tear us apart. Kai's a good guy, but it's us against the world, right?" Her eyes pleaded, that soft blue I'd known forever, now edged with something desperate, like she was reciting lines from a Hallmark card gone wrong. I nodded, throat tight, waiting for the "but," and here it came. She reached into her purse, pulled out a crisp envelope. "I wrote this, for you." Typed apology, single-spaced, all regret and temporary hardship excuses. Then the check, $3,750, scribbled in her loopy script, exact amount plus a buffer. Slid it across the scarred wood table, hopeful. I picked it up, fingers brushing the paper, cool, official. Flipped it, casual, like checking the date. Backside, tiny print, 6-point font screaming, "Acceptance equals full release of all claims, no further action." My stomach dropped, free fall fast, that elevator nausea hitting hard. Not just money, it was my voice getting zip-tied, gagged with legalese. All those screenshots, the demand letter, the late nights piecing betrayal, erased for a payout that screamed, "Shut up and sign." I set it down slow, pushed it back, gentle but firm. "Mom, this isn't fixing it." She sighed deep, deflating like a punctured tire, eyes dropping to her mug. Steam curled up, blurring her face. "Then maybe this will change your mind." From the purse again, a slim blue USB stick, no bigger than my thumb. Labeled in faded Sharpie, "Avibug," my childhood nickname, the one she whispered at bedtime, scribbled on report cards. Handed it over, her palm clammy against mine. Memories, good ones, us. Ever faced a kind trap like that? The sweet bait hiding the hook? Comment below if you have. It sneaks up, makes you question your own spine. God, it gutted me. Flash quick, me, little, 7 maybe, hunched over my trapper keeper at the kitchen table, crayons scattered like fireworks. Avibug, in bubble letters, pink and purple swirls. Mom leaning over with a fresh sheet. "Make it yours, baby. No one takes that away." Her laugh light, fingers ruffling my hair. Notebook clutched like a shield, full of doodles and secrets. Pure claim to who I was. Now? That stick felt like a Trojan horse, heavy in my pocket. I pocketed it anyway, voice barely above the espresso hiss. "What did you do, Mom?" Whispered it, but it landed like a slap. Her face froze, mug midway to her lips. Rain picked up outside, drumming the window like applause for the unspoken. And in that beat, I knew. Whatever was on there, it wasn't just memories. It was leverage, the kind that pulls you under slow. I drove home from the beanery in a daze, that USB stick burning a hole in my pocket like contraband. Rain-slicked streets blurred past, wipers slapping rhythm like a scolding. Pulled into my spot under the flickering streetlight, killed the engine, but sat there a minute, hands on the wheel, knuckles white. What the hell was on it? Memories, she'd said, but Mo's version of good ones lately felt laced with strings. Finally, I grabbed my keys, dashed through the downpour, door slamming behind me like a full stop. Apartment was dim, just the hum of the fridge and that one lamp casting long shadows. Dropped my bag, towed off wet boots, and plugged the stick into my laptop. Port Word to life, files popping up one by one. Photos first, old ones, sure. Me in pigtails at the county fair, cotton candy stuck to my chin, Dad's birthday barbecue, smoke curling from the grill. Sweet, nostalgic hits that tugged at my chest. But then, folders deeper in. Drafts. My drafts. From my work email, my personal Google Drive, the ones I'd buried under layers of security after the card mess started. Screenshots, crisp and damning. There was the letter, the one I'd typed out last spring but never hit send. Fingers hovering over compose, I'd poured it all. The resentment bubbling from years of her little helps turning into liens. The way she'd sigh about Dad's medical bills like they were my cue to open my wallet. Mom, I love you, but this isn't sustainable. We need boundaries. Raw, unedited, dreams I'd hidden away, vulnerable sketches of the woman I wanted to become without the weight. Exposed now, like a journal left open on the kitchen table, pages fluttering for anyone to read. My throat closed up, hot sting behind my eyes. How? When? That familiar address from the bank log, it clicked. They'd logged in, not just once. Christmas memories slammed me then, unbidden, like a door swinging wide. Me, home from my first semester away, snow dusting the windowsills outside their split level on the east side. I'd borrowed their ancient desktop that holiday eve, clunky tower humming in the den, strings of lights twinkling overhead, pine scent thick from the tree in the corner. Just finishing a paper, guys, I'd called, fingers flying on keys sticky with eggnog spills. Uploaded my files quick, synced everything without a thought. Trust, right? Family network. Now, every click on my own machine felt like betrayal echoing back. Keys tapping accusations, cursor blinking like an eye. They'd rooted around in there, not for cash this time, but for cracks, for leverage. They hadn't just taken money, they'd taken privacy, the quiet corners where I stashed my unpolished self, the parts no one gets to auction off. I yanked the stick, tossed it on the coffee table like it scorched, paced the rug, phone in hand, thumb itching to text Kai, deeper than we thought, but held off, needed air first. Cracked the window, city damp rushing in, mixing with the faint vanilla from a candle I'd lit last week. Breathe, Ava. One foot, then the other. That's when the email pinged, sharp chime cutting the quiet. From my cloud provider, automated but gut-punching. Repeated access detected from familiar address. Timestamp, yesterday, 11:43 p.m. Their IP, bold as brass. Heart stuttered, room tilting again. Not over, not by a long shot. And as the rain hammered harder, I wondered if closing the door meant locking out the ghosts, or just giving them time to pick the lock. I crashed on the couch after that email ping, laptop balanced on my knees like a shield. Rain had eased to a drizzle, tapping the window like impatient fingers. The repeated access alert glowed on screen, mocking me, timestamps stacking up like indictments. Their IP, over and over, midnight raids on my digital life. I couldn't breathe right, chest knotted tight, that USB stick staring from the table like a landmine. Called Kai on speaker, voice cracking as I spilled it. The drafts, the letter, the invasion. He didn't interrupt, just let me unravel. When I wound down, his tone came steady through the static, calm as a lighthouse in fog. Let the evidence speak, Ava. You protect your peace. That's the win here. Yeah, peace. The word hung there, simple but seismic. I'd spent days chasing proof, but what if the real fight was reclaiming my own air? Hung up, grabbed a screwdriver from the junk drawer, cold metal grounding my shake. Popped open my old external drive first, the one with college backups and half-baked resumes, wiped it clean. Format, overwrite, gone. Then passwords. Changed them all, two-factor everywhere, app locks on steroids. Typed in Avi No More 2025 for my main, fingers steadying with each keystroke. Felt like scrubbing graffiti off a wall you'd called home. Guilt whispered low, that old familiar hiss. Family first, Ava. Blood's thicker. What if they need you? I whispered back, fierce and quiet. Me first, for once. Echoed in the empty room, landing like truth serum. Not selfish, survival. Next, the big swing. I'd looped in building security yesterday after the kickback tip. Pulled footage from the lobby cams, grainy but gold. Scrubbed through timestamps on my laptop now, coffee bitter on my tongue, the apartment's radiator clanking like a metronome. There, grainy black and white, dated the afternoon of Karen's call. Mom, in her navy peacoat, heels clicking purposeful across the marble floor. Not a social drop-by, straight to the elevators, up to my floor. 5 minutes in HR's antechamber, emerging with a nod to the receptionist. The fake voicemail? Dropped that same hour, anonymous line, tracing to a burner but timed too perfect. Proof of coordination, ironclad as a receipt. Heart skipped, relief mixed with ache. This wasn't some solo slip, it was tag team, family strategy, weaponized. God, it hollowed me. Flash to teen me, 16 and sulking, elbow deep in soapy sink water after one of our blowouts, me yelling about curfew, her firing back on ungrateful, kitchen steamy from dinner pots, radio humming low country tunes in the background. We didn't talk, just scrubbed plates side by side, suds popping soft between us. Pretending nothing happened, her humming off-key to Patsy Cline, me stacking dishes too hard, clank-clank like unspoken sorries. Silence as bandage, patching over the raw spots till they scarred. Worked back then. Now, it just festered. Phone buzzed mid-scrub. Kai forwarding their reply. Email subject, global settlement, $6,900 plus permanent no contact. Opened it slow, cursor dancing over the body, full repayment plus interest wired by EOD. In exchange, radio silence forever, NDAs, no family events, my name scrubbed from holiday cards. Clean break, they called it. Generous even. I hovered over accept, mouse trembling faint, the button pulsing like a dare. Heartbeat slowed, deliberate thuds syncing with the clock's tick. Peace or amputation? The apartment held its breath, rain picking up again outside. One click, and the door slammed shut for good. But as the cursor blinked, steady now, I felt the fog lift, just a crack, enough to see my own outline, clear and whole. And maybe that was the counterstrike I'd been waiting for. Cursor steady, I clicked accept. The email confirmed with a sterile transaction processed pop-up, $6,900 wired back, plus that no contact clause etched in fine print. Felt like sealing a vault, solid, final. But peace? It landed heavier than victory, like a lead blanket draped over my shoulders. No fireworks, no fist pump in the air, just quiet. The kind that echoes in your bones. I closed the laptop, stood, and paced my living room, bare feet whispering over the worn hardwood. Rain had stopped sometime yesterday, leaving the air crisp through the cracked window. Distant horns from I-90, a dog barking 2 doors down. Victory would have been them calling, voices cracking with real sorries. This? It was amputation, clean but bloody. I poured a glass of cheap Merlot, watched the legs trail slow down the sides. To peace, then, even if it tasted like ash. Weeks slipped by in that numb haze. New routines, morning runs along the lakefront, wind whipping my ponytail, waves slapping the break wall like they got it out of their system. Work ramped up. Karen cleared me after the footage dropped. Anonymous tip debunked as interference. "Stay sharp, Mercer," she said with a wry smile, handing back my badge like nothing. I did. Changed my number, blocked the old one, started therapy on Tuesdays. Tiny office off Lorraine, fern on the windowsill, the shrink's nodding head like a metronome for my unraveling. Peace, settled, uneasy, but there, until the mass text chain blew up my new phone. It was a Sunday brunch group, extended fam, aunts and cousins I'd faded from since the fog rolled in. Thread title, Family Update, Stage 2. Mom's doing, no doubt, her way of rallying the troops without naming names. Pray for healing, it read, all prayer hands emojis and Bible quotes. Photos attached, Dad in a hospital gown, pale under the fluorescent glare, tubes snaking from his arm like accusations. Liver stuff, they'd whispered before, years of quiet drinking catching up. Then the tag, at Ava Mercer, absent but loved. Join us in prayer. Absent. Like I was the ghost, not the one they'd haunted. My thumb froze mid-scroll, coffee mug cooling on the counter, steam curling lazy in the morning light. You ever get hit with that? The pull, the guilt lasso snapping tight around your ribs? Family net, wide and waiting. I set the phone down, but it buzzed again. Email this time, from a ghost address I'd missed blocking. Subject, urgent, Dad's treatment. Body, short, knife sharp. Transfer $2,200 for next round. Family expects it. Link attached. Venmo QR code, glowing like a trapdoor. No hello, no how are you holding up, just expect. Like the old days, her hand out, my wallet open. The math never adding up, but the love supposed to. I stared at the screen, cursor blinking in the reply box, empty and waiting. Kitchen clock ticked loud, 10:47 a.m., sunlight slanting gold across the tiles. Memories flickered then, unspooling like old film reels. Mom's Christmas laugh, that full belly one that shook her whole frame, powdered sugar dusting her sleeve from the snickerdoodle batch. Kitchen chaos, flour clouds in the air, radio crooning Bing Crosby, her apron tied loose around her waist. "Ava girl, catch this," she'd holler, tossing a dough ball my way, sticky and warm. We'd roll 'em out together, cutters stamping stars and trees, oven mitts slapping as we pulled the trays. Laughter echoed off the cabinets, bright and unbreakable, then faded into the buzz of that text, sharp as a snapped string. Hand hovered 10 seconds above the keyboard. Counted 'em, breath held shallow, the delete key mocking me from the corner. Who was I kidding? This wasn't healing. It was the same loop, me as the fix-it fund. But in that suspended beat, I remembered who I used to be. The girl who counted coins with hope, not obligation. The one who hugged, fierce, not out of debt. Flash quick, me at 12, gangly limbs and braces glint smile, burying my face in Mom's wool sweater under the Christmas tree lights. Den aglow, multicolored bulbs twinkling like captured stars, tinsel draping the branches in silver haze. Presents piled haphazard, her arms wrapping me tight after I unwrapped that sketchbook she'd saved for. "For your stories, Bug," she murmured, chin on my head, heartbeats syncing with the cars idling outside. Safe, whole, no fine print. Exhale came slow, deliberate, fogging the screen faint. Fingers dropped. Not this time. Typed it bold in the subject, hit send before the guilt could claw back. Deleted the thread, blocked the sender, phone clattering to the counter like shed weight. Stood there, chest loosening inch by inch, the apartment filling with my own quiet. Peace, heavier still, but mine. And as the coffee went cold, I grabbed my running shoes. 1 foot out the door, toward whatever came next. No looking back. Months blurred after that exhale, the not this time email, my last tether snapping clean. I didn't wait for the fallout, packed a duffel with essentials, job leads printed from LinkedIn, and bolted west. Milwaukee caught me like a soft landing. Lake Michigan's breeze sharper than Erie's, but kinder somehow, carrying hints of yeast from the breweries downtown. Landed a gig auditing nonprofits, smaller scale, less corporate bite, but steady pay for a third-floor walk-up in Bayview. The apartment's a shoebox, exposed brick walls scarred from 100 tenants before, kitchenette where the fridge hums lullabies at night. But the windows, they crank wide, fresh air rushing in off the lakefront path, salty, alive, chasing out the stale Cleveland fog that had clung too long. First week, I hit a thrift shop on Kinnikinnick, snagged a cheap frame for a sticky note I'd scribbled in therapy. Boundaries are love pointed inward. Propped it on my desk, next to the fern that's somehow thriving despite my black thumb. Stare at it during coffee breaks, the words blurring when emails pile up. Reminds me, saying no isn't armor, it's oxygen. You ever frame your own manifesto? Feels cheesy at first, like adulting's participation trophy, but damn if it doesn't anchor you when the old poles tug. Word trickled in slow, through Sarah, high school buddy turned mutual ghost in the family tree. We grabbed brats at Lakefront Brewery one Friday, foam-flecked mugs sweating on the picnic table, gulls wheeling overhead. Heard from Aunt June, she said casual, ketchup on her chin. Your folks started therapy, couple stuff, twice a week, small steps, you know. I paused, fork midway to a pile of fries, the sizzle of the grill behind us fading out. Therapy? Like the ones I'd taken freshman year, spilling guts to a stranger about the weight of family first till it lightened enough to breathe. Pictured them in some beige office, dad fidgeting with his hat brim, mom twisting a tissue. Small steps, echo of mine, awkward, hopeful. A smile crept up, faint but real, warming my cheeks like sun-breaking clouds. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a crack in the door. Good for them, I murmured, clinking her glass. Really? That night, back in the apartment, windows flung open to the cricket chorus and distant fairy horns, I couldn't shake it. Dad's face from the mass text, pale, tubes like lifelines. Guilt? Sure, a whisper, but quieter now. Pulled up my banking app on the laptop, glow soft in the lamplight, cursor hovering over donations, typed in a liver care fund, generic one, no ties, just docs and hope for folks fighting the same shadows. $100, anonymous. Hit confirm before the second guess could land. A small kindness, for no one in particular. Felt like dropping a pebble, ripples out, no fanfare. Shut the screen, leaned back, the chair creaking under me. Air stirred the curtains, cool on my skin. Peace, lighter now, mine to carry. Memories sneak in those quiet hours, uninvited but welcome. Flash to me as a kid, 6 maybe, gap-toothed grinned under the kitchen's harvest moon lamp. Birthday cake on the table, chocolate frosting smeared like war paint, 7 candles flickering wild. Mom and Dad on either side, hands clasped behind my back as I puffed cheeks full. Lungs burning, eyes squeezed shut for the wish, world peace or a pony, kid logic. Wax smoke curls up, sweet and fleeting, as they clap thunderous, whoops bouncing off the linoleum. Make a wish come true, Ava girl, Dad booms, scooping me for a spin, Mom's laugh layering over like harmony. Balloons bob in the corner, cake knife glinting silver. That joy? Pure helium, lifting everything. No fine print, no demands, just us, clapping for the girl blowing out lights. Revenge wasn't about taking money back, clawing dollars from their grip like some heist movie score. Nah, it was about taking myself back, piecing the scattered bits, the trust shards and boundary lines into something whole. And sometimes, yeah, those boundaries, they open doors to quiet forgiveness. Not the loud hug-it-out kind from rom-coms, the soft one where you smile at small steps from afar, donate pebbles into ponds, and let the ripples do their work. Forgiveness for them, sure, but mostly for me. Letting go of the weight, stepping lighter into whatever's next. Hey, you listening this far? Have you ever had to draw a line with family? That tough love etch in the sand? Comment boundaries below. Your story might just be the map someone else needs to find theirs. Thanks for writing this out with me. Means more than you know. Hit subscribe if these hits home. Keeps the shares coming. What's your line? Drop it. We're in this together.